I'll be honest with you lads, I'm no tank expert, but seeing the Dick of Max being added to Stalingrad was just too much to handle. And if you thought this name was bad enough, and no, I'm not making it up, it was originally called the Bunker Buster. God, I'm a child. I'm such a child. Enlisted's high-caliber major update is perhaps the most controversial update I've ever seen throughout my 2 years almost of playing this game. But just before we proceed, a message from today's video sponsor, Earth 2. Earth 2 is an absolutely amazing futuristic concept for a second Earth, a metaverse between virtual and physical reality in which real-world geolocations on a sectioned map correspond to user-generated digital virtual environments. Now all this means is that these environments on Earth 2 can be owned, bought, sold, and customized to your liking, with the all-new Holo builder tool to design your own buildings from scratch. You can also play with online vibrant communities to build colossal mega cities. A virtual one-to-one scale version of Earth was always inevitable, and Earth 2 is just the beginning of this exciting future. Phase 1 of the project is now live and represents the central global body that aims to determine ownership of digital assets and property inside this futuristic virtual metaverse of Earth. You can already see these first humble beginnings, but the metaverse will fully launch in 2023, allowing you to genuinely run around the cities that you created online. I am absolutely delighted to be able to promote this project as it looks unreal, and I'll link their new reveal video in the description so you can take a closer look at what awaits you. But now, back to the review. Players were hyped about the final end-of-year update when the first diary entry for it came out on the 22nd of November. Recording replays while watching them? Check. Massively improved AI? Check. Rebalancing OP weapons? Check again. A visually stunning new Stalingrad map all around the tractor plant? Check, check, check. Even a developers versus players event in-game was announced. It all was looking great. I remember feeling super excited about this update, and so many of you guys were in our massive Enlisted Discord server, and you can join in the debate there. Link in the description. But then again, you can't really have the good without the bad. It turned out that the devs versus players events didn't really go that smoothly. I mean, for starters, there aren't enough devs for the sheer number of players that even wanted to play with them, resulting in more than 50% of the player base pretty much never getting a game with a developer. And those that did, including myself, only really managed to get one game with them, and that was basically it. The snail god sometimes forsakes content creators too, guys. Come on, seriously? It was a great idea in theory, and actually originated from content creators like Quadro, EE, and myself. But sadly, it was just executed poorly. But that's okay, right? One thing slightly not going to plan doesn't hurt anyone, right? However, the first real bump in the road for about 90% of the player base came on the 25th of November, because that brought the dreaded bringing features to all campaigns devblog. 3 main things were set to be introduced to the remaining campaigns that were not already testing them out. TNT charges from the Stalingrad campaign were not an issue. It's good to see players have more options, but I've never really seen value in them above explosive packs that can literally do everything a TNT charge can do and more. Then phosphorus grenades. You're already acquainted with these fearsome grenades thanks to the Pacific War campaign. Yes, Darkflow. Yes, we are. Now, the only redeeming quality of these is that they were only added to Normandy and Tunisia, but still, these things are rather, in the words of Darkflow, fearsome. But you know what's not fearsome? The subscribe button. I mean, I'd like to think it's not scary. Go on, just click it. It doesn't bite. But the major problem were the AI bombing runs or airstrikes. They were only in the Stalingrad and Pacific campaigns until now, but dear God were they one of the worst things I've ever seen added to the game. I like this game because it's infantry focused with your entire AI squad, and the vehicles are just an afterthought, a little bit of an accessory, an addition if you'd like. But with additions like this, you turn it from infantry focused to infantry I'm sorry, that was a really poor joke. But my point still stands. They require literally 0 skill, press 7 for a quick 50 kills, and are so infuriating to see as an infantry player because you know your entire squad is about to get wiped alongside the rest of your entire team. And in places like the Pacific, where everything is completely open, it's chaos. Just imagine what it'll be like in the Tunisia campaign. I mean, for God's sake, Normandy already suffers from constant explosion spams, making it unenjoyable already to play as infantry, but they were planning on using Ju-188s for these AI bombing runs, which each have 6 250-kilogram bombs, and they are at least 7 planes per bombing run. That's 42 250-kilogram bombs that cover the entire field, and this is without including all the other sources of explosions in that campaign. Oh, Jesus Christ, that campaign's a mess. I mean, the devs sum it up perfectly. An armada of bombers with powerful high-explosive bombs will cover a huge area and destroy tens of soldiers and vehicles, where tens is a less severe way of saying basically everything. I physically cannot remember seeing anyone actually like these bombing runs, whether that's on my Discord, Reddit, the forums, etc. Don't get me wrong, I like the idea of them, but how they are currently implemented into the game and how they work is just absurd. But perhaps the most important thing to note is that the fact that the developers added them to all campaigns despite all the negative feedback about them was the first straw that suggested to the majority of the player base that the developers don't listen to players. And that was the idea that made this whole update controversial, and you'll see more in this video. Many more cooler updates were announced from this point onwards, such as smoke ammunition for mortars and tanks, soldier customization for all campaigns, although not for the Tunisia campaign for some reason. I'm not salty about it, I swear. A competitive event, GG to the guys who actually made the top 20 on the leaderboard, by the way, many of which are actually in our Discord server. And the official name for the update was released: High Caliber. It all sounds cool, right? And it is. The new heavy machine gun nests you can build are dang cool. They're really interesting, but soon enough you realize they are basically just glorified MG nests, and the attraction very, very quickly fades away. It's a shame, but nothing major, right? Besides, they also released some new cool MG premium squads as part of the pre-order bundle, the Fedorov MG and the MG42 early. I mean, they aren't exactly high caliber, more like medium caliber. Yes, they tried adding the MG nickname decorator and portrait to up the bundle to high, but it stays at medium under my opinion. So, the update is called High Caliber, yet its only headline features are glorified MG nests and some not amazing premium squads. And pricey premium squads at that, because upon clicking purchase, the store then asks for 80, that's not what my script says. Seriously, I was meant to say at least, and I said AT. Man, I've been playing this game too much. AT gunner, bro, what is this? Because upon clicking purchase, the store asks for at least 60 euros for the bundle. What? One thing Darkflow has never got right in the whole history of, well, Enlisted, is its pricing of literally anything. They're really saying that in non-discounted times, this bundle would be worth 80 euros. No chance, mate. I mean, if you want this, then go for it. But these prices put me off ever buying another premium squad. And the majority of players will agree with this statement. These prices are too much. And even in soldier customization do these things cost way too much. The developers seem to forget that these premium squads or customization outfits are for one soldier, in one squad, in one faction, in one campaign, and there are 12 campaign size to do this in. No matter how many times it's mentioned on the forums or anywhere else, the developers once again don't seem to listen to the players. This was straw number 2 in the process. So, up till now, the update brought some mechanics and features nobody wanted to new campaigns, the name of the update was memed as it was less impressive than expected, and the prices put many people off the whole thing as well. What could be worse than that? Actually, I guess I just shouldn't have said that. Because what released soon after were the new levels being added to every campaign. And I'm not lying when I say I've never seen this much backlash on any Enlisted update in my life. Moscow now has some uninteresting tanks, just copy-pasted from other campaigns and then given a facelift. Normandy was given some Stug evolution for the Axis that I'll probably never use if I'm being honest, and the Allies were given something even more useless than that. An open-top M18 in Normandy. Of all campaigns, Normandy! The commander of this tank won't last more than 2 seconds. The devs do realise that Normandy is memed as an explosive mess, right? So basically another tank I'll never use, and most experienced players won't use this thing either. The way you win games in Enlisted is by attacking the point and building rally points. Though if you want more details on how to actually perform better at the game, then you probably should click on this video. But those 2 things are basically it, and you do those things as an infantry soldier. Tanks and planes are an accessory, but they aren't compulsory in order to win games. Infantry are, unless you're in Normandy, I guess. Tunisia's new levels were also widely debated as one of the most unbalanced individual levels in the entire game. A plane with 12 rockets versus a 2 100-kilogram bomb plane. Be honest, Which one would you rather use? Stalingrad got something else people don't even care about, just copy-paste mortars, and the Pacific saw a copy-paste M3 Stuart but added a flamethrower, which honestly I don't think is that bad, and another Japanese swimming tank that literally has no armor. Berlin is basically the only one that has interesting things, at least for me, with some new MGs, but these kind of actors paper over the cracks. So on the whole, it's pretty dull. At least for me. But then you consider the premium squads. Now don't get me wrong, I think on the whole, these premium squads are actually pretty cool. There's some really interesting stuff here that I would get. The problem is though, they're premium squads, and squads that are just way too expensive for me to ever buy. Think about it. Most of these squads cost somewhere around 4,700 enlisted gold, which according to the Enlisted store requires you to pay 50 euros for one premium squad. It's absolutely outrageous. Most entire games cost half of this. And remember, this premium squad is only in one faction in one campaign. And there are 6 campaigns. I'm immediately out of the running to buy them myself, and I know I'm not alone. If I wasn't a content creator, then I may never have got my hands on most of these. So I want to say a massive thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you guys who engage with these videos and watch them, because it allows me to actually review these things for you guys. So as always, if you're finding this video interesting, be sure to like it, as it really helps with the algorithm. But what did the rest of the community think about this? Well, for many, it was literally the last straw. Strongly disapproving Reddit posts, forum posts, and community discussions started popping up everywhere you looked. Some even showed polls about what the community would have preferred over all of these changes the developers actually made, quoting the devs not listening to players once again, and copping out with all the unlocks being copy-paste versions with a little tinkering and leaving the only interesting stuff to premium squads. This ended up getting so bad that the biggest enlisted content creator, not me though, sorry, I know I should be the biggest though, right? That sounded so cocky. I'm not even sure that can stay in the video. Not me, but hey Quadro tried to organize a boycott of the entire game on release day. I got so many DMs from players asking me what my stance was on this, whether I was joining it, what do I think of the update as a whole. Well, here it is. Despite all that I have already said in this video, I don't think, and I still don't think, that this update really is that bad. I think there are good and there are bad. But the reason I resonated with Quadro so strongly on this was looking back at every single video I've made on any update, making jokes about it, just talking about it. I eventually realized that the developers really haven't actually made the changes players want to see in the game. This includes so many bug fixes, quality of life improvements, and so much more that I know have been asked for such a long time by the majority of the player base. And this is why I chose to initially support Quadro. Not because of this update purely, but because of the history of the updates with the game. It was due to a more holistic view of the whole situation at hand. However, and I say this strongly, I will still say that this update is much better than you think it is right now, and much better than I've suggested in this video so far. And overall, including all the things that have happened as a result of the boycott and all the little fixes that were made here, I believe overall that this update has actually done wonders to the game of Enlisted. And the reason for this is because those wonders are hidden amongst the patch notes. Now I could sit here and go through them all, but I trust that you can all read. I mean, I hope, because it's kind of an important life skill. But there are still some things I need to mention that I haven't so far that might just sway your opinion. It might not seem like it, but they've still added a wide variety of new weapons and vehicles to the game. They changed and made more unique a huge variety of new models for knives, axes, weapons, and so much more. They even kind of stealth nerfed the stupid AI bombing runs that we talked about earlier in a number of ways, despite not really telling us, which honestly they should have done. Now they're not perfect changes and they still need more, but it's a start. The smoke shells for vehicles and mortars are indeed a great addition, as well as new physics for tank shells. And the Stalingrad tractor plants map is so aesthetically and visually stunning. A few new missions help to spice up the existing maps, but this new animations and sound section is arguably what attracts me the most. Everything in here is just good. Like, yes, I mean, nothing here is groundbreaking, but it's all just good. I'm super glad they added these. Fantastic stuff, Darkflow. Quality of life changes like this are so needed, and I especially love the new headshot sound, which is so satisfying, by the way, and the new music when capturing the points to add tension. Lots of improved visual effects help too, though if you ask me, they really should be working on the most annoying part of flamethrowers instead, like being set on fire literally every 5 seconds, even if you're not touching the fire. But hey, what do I know? I'm literally just a singular dude. The replay mod stuff is great, though please please, please, please work on a live spectator mode for custom games. There would be so much we can do with it for future tournaments and events I plan to host, and it would just attract more players to the game. The improved Radial shortcuts menus, while they're going to take some time for me to get used to, are positive changes too, as the alt menu doesn't look as cluttered as it once did. Though it is now significantly harder to tell your team to build a rally, mark enemies, or attack the point, assuming you're all doing it on one hand. So my suggestion is to make the quick chat menu available to be used separately as well by one singular hotkey that we can keybind. A bunch of new additions under other improvements will never go amiss either, and while I know there's still loads of things that could have been added here, at least some things are being done. And then we come to the always nice to read bug fixes, and most of you out there may be dreading hearing that engineers equipping STGs in Normandy is now fixed. God damn it, Darkflow, I wanted that. Also, what? You could repair all vehicles in battle by accident? Imagine spending 5 minutes trying to shoot down an enemy aircraft just to return to base and fix your own vehicle, but accidentally also fix the enemy's vehicle. Oh god, that's 5 minutes you'll never get back. And there was also apparently an issue which reset all your game settings. So if you watched my last video on how to optimally improve your graphic settings in-game, then hopefully these settings actually stay this time. Despite all of these good changes though, perhaps the most important and best thing that came about as a result of something to do with this update was seeing KO Fox's replies to some community comments. He helped to address many of the community's worries and concerns, both on the forums and on Quadro's video itself. Now on the video, I actually completely agree with KO Fox here about this blackmail. Imagine if you were a developer and you saw one of the biggest content creators for your game organize a boycott against your product. This is exactly why I chose not to encourage my community to join it, but instead of their own accord. But one of the most interesting things is that they plan to select a person to watch videos of content creators like myself and take feedback from them. Now what I really hope is that it is not just me. I mean, I fully understand I won't get everything right on every update, as shocking as that is to hear, but I'll be wrong now and then. Rarely, but now and then. So what I hope they mean is that they listen to you guys down in the comments as well. And we can't forget all of the bugs the developers are already addressing just hours after the game came out and still until today. So let's also hope they fix this. I don't know what is happening here, but I'm fairly sure in the middle of a war zone is not the right time or place. And maybe the new Stalingrad tractor maps bugs will be solved soon as well. You don't want to end up like Vazda here. He's completely stuck. He can't get out. Yeah, oh my god, oh he's out. But whatever your opinion on how these bugs were caused, you cannot say that the developers are not working to try and improve the game for everyone. And you cannot say that they aren't at all listening to us as players, because they are, and they are trying more and more. Granted, there will probably always be debate about Enlisted's campaign system, the grind, the monetization system, and so much more. And I don't think it's realistic to expect significant movement on these things at any one time. But what is promising is that there are now some discussions available to be had about these things, as the developers seem to listen to us more, and that is all really the community we're asking for. Therefore, I want to thank the devs on behalf of most of the community, and I am much more optimistic about Enlisted's future as a result. And I also want to say, yes, I'm talking to you right now who are watching this video, that we should all hopefully chill out a little bit more around the debate surrounding this update. I've seen some ridiculously toxic talk between players themselves debating this update and to the developers, and none of it is really called for. None of it is justifiable. Now, I'm not saying I'm not guilty of this, as I probably am in some cases. All I want to say though is that every opinion on the game is welcome, and I'm sure the devs are looking into it. So let's just telepathically agree to chill, and let's have some compassion for each other and the devs. I mean, we are all trying to make Enlisted a better place. Please comment down below if I've forgotten any bug, issue or glitch or any talking point, because you've just seen that the Enlisted developers and helpers are looking at your comments. After doing that though, watch this video on the previous update before this one, and you can compare yourself how the developers reacted to this update and that last one. So go on, click it. It's a good video.